What if Moses received 2 books on Mount Sinai, not one? For 40 days and nights, while thunder shook the mountain and fire consumed its peak, something extraordinary unfolded. An angel stood before Moses dictating not just the commandments we know, but an entirely separate chronicle. A hidden history of heaven itself. This is the Book of Jubilees. Written around 150 years before Christ, this ancient text survived against impossible odds. Banned by authorities, erased from Western memory. When archaeologists discovered the Dead Sea Scrolls between 1947 and 1956, they found 15 manuscripts of Jubilees in those Qumran caves. Only Genesis, Psalms, Deuteronomy, Isaiah, and Exodus appeared more frequently. The community that preserved these scrolls considered Jubilees essential reading. The text begins with a staggering claim. On the 16th day of the 3rd month after the Exodus, God summoned Moses up the mountain. An angel began dictating the complete history of creation, not as humans understood it, as heaven recorded it. According to Jubilees, angels existed before light itself. On the very first day, God fashioned 4 distinct classes of celestial beings. Angels of the presence who stand eternally before the divine throne. Angels of sanctification who make all things holy. Guardian angels assigned over individuals. And angels governing every phenomenon of nature, from rainfall to the movement of the stars. Here's where the narrative takes a much darker turn. In the days of Jared, whose very name means descent, angels called the Watchers came down from heaven. Their original mission was noble. They would teach humanity righteousness and proper worship. They would guide human civilization toward divine knowledge. But something went terribly wrong. These angels looked upon the daughters of men and found them beautiful. Against every law of creation, they united with mortal women. Their offspring became the Nephilim, giants towering over ordinary humans, beings who were never meant to exist. The horror did not end there. Jubilees reveals a hierarchy of destruction most have never heard. The giants produced children. Different types of monstrous beings emerged. The Nephilim slew their offspring. Those offspring slew yet another generation. All turned against humanity. The earth became a slaughterhouse. God determined to cleanse creation through water. Noah, chosen for righteousness, would preserve humanity's seed. As the floodwaters rose, the Nephilim drowned. The Watchers were bound in chains. All were imprisoned until a final judgment yet to come. Yet one figure remained, a spirit called Mastema. After the flood, the disembodied spirits of dead giants began terrorizing Noah's descendants. These were not ordinary demons. They were the corrupted souls of beings that should never have existed. Noah pleaded with God to bind them all. Here Jubilees reveals something shocking. Mastema bargained with the Creator. Yes, he made a deal with God. He demanded 1/10 of these demons remain free, to test humanity, to lead the wicked astray, to serve as instruments of divine judgment against sinners. God agreed. This single passage rewrites our understanding of evil's presence in the world. The demons that would later torment the possessed. The unclean spirits Christ cast out spirits in Gadara. According to Jubilees, they are the lingering remnants of the Nephilim, permitted to exist by divine decree. The revelations do not stop there. Jubilees contain secrets about reality that challenge all ancient assumptions. Consider the calendar. Jubilees insists on a solar year of exactly 364 days, 4 quarters of 13 weeks each, every festival falling on the same weekday forever. The author warns that using lunar calendars would cause holy days to be celebrated at wrong times. Cosmic disorder would follow. The Qumran community adopted this calendar. They believed mainstream Judaism had fallen into error. The correct measurement of sacred time was no trivial matter. It was essential to maintaining harmony between heaven and earth. Now consider language. According to Jubilees, Hebrew was not merely the tongue of Abraham's descendants. It was heaven's language, the original speech of creation. In the Garden of Eden, every creature spoke Hebrew. Animals conversed with Adam. The serpent articulated its temptation in the sacred tongue. When Adam and Eve fell, animals lost the power of speech. Hebrew persisted among humans until the Tower of Babel. Then God confused the languages, and the heavenly tongue was forgotten by all nations, all except one lineage. When we return, discover how Abraham recovered heaven's lost language, why his grandson Jacob was chosen over Esau before birth, and the hidden wars that shaped the destiny of Israel. The Book of Jubilees holds answers that have waited 2,000 years to be heard. Abraham did not simply discover Hebrew. Angels personally taught him the forgotten tongue. After Babel scattered humanity, the sacred language vanished. Generations passed. Nations rose speaking corrupted dialects. Then angels descended with a different mission. They found a man in Ur and restored to him the speech of Eden. This was no ordinary education. Jubilees presents Abraham as heaven's student. He learned astronomy from celestial teachers. He understood star movements and seasons. Most importantly, he grasped the sacred calendar, keeping humanity aligned with divine time. Abraham faced 10 trials. Most know only when God commanded him to sacrifice Isaac, but Jubilees reveals that Mastema orchestrated this challenge. Like Satan and Job, Mastema questioned devotion. He demanded proof. Abraham passed every test. When the knife was raised, angels of holiness wept above. Angels aligned with Mastema rejoiced, believing Abraham would fail. They were wrong. Mastema was shamed before heaven's courts. Jubilees reveals something about Isaac's sons that transforms the story entirely. Jacob and Esau were not simply rivals. From the womb, cosmic forces marked them for different destinies. Jubilees describes Jacob as perfect and upright. He lived in tents, studying and learning writing. Esau was a harsh hunter who never learned to read. Abraham, who was still living when the twins were young, made a prophecy appearing in no other text. He blessed Jacob directly. He prayed that Mastema's spirits would never rule him or his descendants. This was not family favoritism. Abraham knew the spiritual warfare his family would face across generations. The rivalry would erupt into combat. While Genesis records reconciliation after Jacob's return, Jubilees tells a different ending. The brothers went to war. The conflict ended when Esau fell in battle. Here we encounter one of the most startling aspects of this book. It describes events appearing nowhere in traditional scripture. The Qumran community accepted them. Many Christians preserve them still. Consider Dinah. Genesis tells us Jacob's daughter was violated by Shechem. Her brothers Levi and Simeon slaughtered the city in revenge. The biblical account condemns this. Jacob cursed their fury. Jubilees reverses this judgment entirely. According to this text, Levi's vengeance was righteous. It demonstrated zeal for purity and separation from foreign peoples. This deed is why God chose Levi's descendants for priesthood. Violence defending Israel became sacred service. The implications resonate through history. The Maccabees who revolted against Greek oppression claimed descent from this line. Jubilees may have justified their militant stance. Perhaps the most profound revelation concerns Eden itself. Adam and Eve did not fall immediately. According to this text, they lived in paradise for exactly 7 years. They worked and tended the garden. Angels instructed them. Adam named every creature in Hebrew. When Eve ate the forbidden fruit in the 4th month of the 7th year, creation mourned. Animals lost speech. Death entered. Humanity began its exile from divine presence. But Jubilees does not end in despair. The text contains prophecies of restoration. A Messiah would come from Judah. His kingdom would transform nature and humanity. People would live 1,000 years in peace. Sin would disappear until heaven and earth were made new. Early Christians found these promises compelling. Jubilees influenced the New Testament in ways scholars still discover. Stephen's final speech in Acts referenced traditions found only here. Paul's Galatians mentions angels mediating the law, all drawn from this text. For 2,000 years, Western Christianity forgot this book. No complete Hebrew, Greek, or Latin manuscript survived. Only fragments hinted at what was lost. In high mountains, where Christianity took root in the 4th century, monasteries preserved the complete text in Ge'ez. When scholars obtained copies in the 18th century, they discovered a window into beliefs shaping the world between Old and New Testaments. Jubilees is not simply ancient curiosity. It represents how devout Jews understood Scripture before Jesus walked the earth. Its angels and demons, its cosmic calendar, its vision of Hebrew as heaven's language, permeated the world where Christianity was born. Scholars debate origins. Was the author Pharisee? Essene? The Dead Sea Scrolls suggest Qumran connections, but certainty remains elusive. What remains certain is this. For millions of Eastern World Christians, Jubilees is not Apocrypha. It is Holy Scripture standing beside Genesis and Exodus. Perhaps they preserved something the world was meant to forget. Perhaps the angel spoke true when dictating to Moses on that thundering mountain. Jubilees waited in darkness for 2 millennia. Now its secrets emerge into light. What you do with this knowledge is yours to decide.